Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Welcome to another knit and chat. Today is going to be a little bit of a shorter edition because I am going to be making these every 2 weeks going forwards. So the first episode of the month will be talking about my stash busting, some recent finished projects, and projects that I'm hoping to make in the coming month. So we won't be talking about any of my works in progress, the things that I have been progressing on, but we will be discussing those in the next episode. I just wanted to make a note of that little format change before we get started. I'm doing this because I just want to give myself a little more time to actually make progress on the things that I'm working on so that I actually have things to talk to you about. I did just do a little trial run to see how much I was able to get done since I last uploaded, and it wasn't enough to make a whole video about, so I came up with this new little structure so that I do have things to actually discuss with you. Without further ado, let's just get right into the knit and chat. So to start off with stash busting. In April, I only used one skein of yarn. Not happy with that, especially after March was such a productive month with 6 skeins of yarn. I really had hoped that April would go a lot smoother, but I think I just chipped away at some skeins and I never actually made it through one. But thankfully May so far is turning around a little bit and I have already used, I think, at least one skein. So we're already on par with April. Hopefully next month I will have more to update you on the stash busting totals and everything, but for now I have just used one skein. I also can't remember off the top of my head what that brings our total up to, so I will put it up on the screen what the total number is now, and hopefully I'll be able to make more progress in May, but we'll have to see. So then in terms of finished objects since I last talked to you, because it's only been 2 weeks, I have only finished one project, and it was a birthday present, so I don't have the finished project anymore, and I actually don't even have a picture of what it looked like. I have a work in progress picture, at least, that I could put up for you. I made this little Amigurumi pig for my sister for her birthday. She has a pet pig, a little black potbelly pig named Pua, and so I made her a little crochet version of Pua for her birthday, and I used the pattern Pig Amigurumi Crochet Along by Brenna Eves. This pattern, I don't know, it was okay. There were a couple times where I noticed errors, like the stitch count was a little bit off because I would be like, oh, I have too many stitches here, and then I would redo the round and I had the same amount of stitches, and then I'd just move on like, oh, I'll fix that later, and then it would be correct on the next round or something like that. And some of the instructions were just a little unclear at times, but otherwise it was a fine pattern. I enjoyed it enough. I think the finished objects turned out really cute, and I hope my sister is happy with it. I think in the end it was worth it, but it wasn't the best pattern to follow. I also don't often make amigurumi. They're not really my favorite thing to make, so this is kind of a once in a great while kind of project, but I did enjoy it enough. And for the yarn for this, I used Loops and Threads Impeccable in the color black. I have been working through my yarn stash from honestly the early days of me knitting, and so I have a lot of acrylic from when I first started knitting and crocheting, and I bought the cheapest yarn I could, which was always acrylic. I have just a few little straggler kind of skeins that I would rather use than get rid of, so working through all of that, and this was one of those. This was the skein that I used up for my stash busting, and it's fine yarn. I'm glad to finally have it out of my stash, and I'm not planning to buy any more acrylic going forwards unless it is for a baby blanket or baby related object, or for a blanket, like a normal, I almost said a human-sized blanket. Babies are humans. For a normal adult-sized blanket, those kind of projects, I would much prefer to use acrylic as opposed to any other kind of material. So then that brings us to things that I have planned for the month of May. I have a lot of hopes, but I don't know how much I'm realistically going to be able to get done. So I narrowed it down to just 4 projects for this month. It's only a month, I can only do so much. I don't want to get way in over my head and say that I'm going to complete 20 new projects and then I come back to you with 2 or something. I'm trying to keep it realistic even though I want to make everything under the sun. So I have picked just a couple of things. So in general, all of these projects are just geared towards getting ready for summer and late spring. I have always struggled with having enough summertime clothes, and so that's been a really big focus lately for me. So I have 2 very summery shirts picked out, and then one that's kind of more of a spring shirt, a spring and fall kind of shirt, but since we're still in the tail end of spring, I am putting it on this list to work on for May. And then I also have another project that is not necessarily specific to a season, but that I would like to work on this month. So the first of these projects is absolutely a summer project, and that is this beautiful crochet shirt pattern. This is called the Valentine Pullover. This is, I believe, a 1940s pattern. I've discussed this a couple of times on my knit and chat videos, so do forgive me if you have heard about this so many times and you're getting sick of it, but I am making it out of this amazing variegated yarn, and it has so many beautiful colors in it. I'm not usually a bright colors kind of person, but I have been loving adding color to my wardrobe lately. That has been such a focal point of my knitting and sewing lately, has been to pick brightly colored fabrics and add them into my wardrobe. I have just been absolutely loving it. So this is one of those. I'm not usually a variegated yarn person either, but something about this yarn, or crochet thread, I guess, is just beautiful. I love it. It is Red Heart crochet cotton in the color Ocean. It has blues and greens and kind of purpley pink-ish colors in it. I think it's amazing. And the pattern has this absolutely beautiful shell stitch pattern in it. I love it. I think this is going to be so airy and cool and nice for summer, especially with the cotton fiber that will be nice and breathable, and the very airy nature of the crochet itself I think will be great for summertime. I am almost done with the back panel of this. I just got to the armhole shaping, so I cast off a little bit or decreased a little bit for the armhole, and now I'm working up the rest of the back. I have, I think, 3 more inches to go, and then I'll be done with the back and I can start on the front. So I'm really excited about this. Hopefully I will be able to get it done for actual summertime weather, but if not, I can always have it for next summer. The next project is very much in a similar vein because it is also a crochet shirt, and this is the Lovely Ladies top. This is a 1950s pattern. Again, I've talked about this in my videos before, so I apologize if you're hearing about this again. I usually don't go for 50s patterns. They're not really my style most of the time, but something about this specific pattern I really loved, and I wanted to have it in my wardrobe. I think it's mostly because of the projects that I've seen other people make. There have been some really lovely renditions of this pattern, and some of them were a little more 40s leaning, which I gravitate towards. 40s and a little bit of 30s are generally my eras of choice for my clothing, and so when I saw that some people had styled it or made it a little more 40s looking, I fell in love with this pattern and I really wanted to make it. I bought the yarn for these 2 crochet shirts at the same time, and because I chose such a variegated and bright color for the other top, I decided to choose a very staple piece color for this one. So I picked this cream or tan color. This is Loops and Threads crochet cotton in the color Natural. Yeah, I don't really notice a difference between crochet cottons, so I just pick whatever looks nice, and this one I really like. So this is a very similar pattern to the other one with a kind of shell stitch. It's just a little different because it's offset, unlike the other one. I'm also to the arm shaping for this one, but because this is a 50s pattern, a lot of the times in 50s clothing, the arms were worked together with the bodice. So if you're sewing, you would cut the arms or the sleeves with the bodice fabric. If you are knitting or crocheting, you would just increase out. So that's where I'm at for this. I am just barely into increasing out for my armholes So this will continue going out to make a sleeve, and then it will all be in one piece, which I think will be nice because I won't have too many pieces to sew together. I'll just have the front and the back. That'll be nice. I also think that it's going to be really, really nice to have a really basic staple piece for my wardrobe that is a little more intricate than a sewn blouse, because it has each of those crochet stitches in it, and you can tell that it is handmade, which I love, but it is not too out there because it's just, again, this cream color, unlike the variegated color, which is very bright, and this will go with less. I think that this is going to be more of a staple in my wardrobe. I can absolutely pair this with a ton of different skirts and everything, and so it'll be very versatile, I think. And again, for summertime, the cotton and the very open nature of the fabric that it's creating is going to be really, really great for warm weather. So definitely looking forward to getting that done. This one is coming along slower than this one because for some reason I've just liked working on this one more. So I don't know if I'll be able to get this one done very soon, but I'm hopeful. And then the next top that I'm hoping to work on in May and maybe hopefully get finished, but we'll have to see. This is my top that I was talking about, is more spring leaning or fall leaning. I don't know that this will work very well for hot weather, but for kind of cooler weather, I think it will be great. And this is a pattern called the Charming Fair Isle Jumper. This is a 1940s pattern with really beautiful color work all over. This is a knit pattern, and this is my version of it so far. I'm gonna try and hold it up so you could see the whole panel. This is the back panel of it. So I've already cast off the back. I'm currently working on the front panel. Mine is a tan color yarn, and I chose green and blue for the color work. The only thing about this is that the green really does not stand out as much as I had hoped it would, but I think it still looks pretty nice. I chose these colors because they are pretty neutral. I think that this will kind of pair with more, but I would maybe like to remake this pattern in a different color scheme, something with much higher contrast, maybe a navy blue with some pastel colors. I think I'm thinking of that because someone in Ravelry has already made one like that, but I like this pattern. I think it would be really beautiful in lots of different colors, and it has a nice little high neckline. I finished this back panel kind of a while ago, and I need to finally get to finishing up the top because I still have the front and the sleeves to do, and I don't think they'll be too difficult. Oh, I did not write down what yarn this is. This is Yarn Bee yarn. It is acrylic yarn, but it's really, really nice quality acrylic, and it came in a nice small gauge. This is, I think, a sport weight yarn. So I was excited that this was so soft and a small weight of yarn, so I picked it up. This was a more recent acquisition. I know I said I was leaning away from acrylic yarns, but this one, I just really liked the yarn. So I'm making this very nice sweater out of it. It is a short sleeve sweater, so I think that this will go good for spring and for fall. So I included it in this list because we're still in spring, and where I live, it's a little bit cool still. It's slowly warming up, but it's still honestly kind of chilly at times. So I want to finish this up as soon as possible. I don't know if it's going to be possible to finish it before the hot weather rolls in, but if not, I could just have it for the fall and that would be fine. And then another project that I want to be making in May so that I can have it for the spring and summer weather is a hat of some kind. I don't have a specific pattern picked out for this yet, but I have a couple of yarn options for it. And just generally, I want to have more hats to wear. I love hats. Vintage hats are a toss-up of crazy and really pretty. Most of them are really pretty, but then you get a couple of weird ones, like this. Who is wearing that? Did anyone really wear that? But I personally want to have more hats and I want to wear them more. So I have one pattern that I have queued, and I'm not sure if I will get to it, but I do really want to make this hat, and it is called the Off the Face hat. This is a little crochet hat that I plan to make in black crochet cotton. I think the yarn that I have is Loops and Threads crochet cotton, just in the color black. I think it'd be a nice little kind of basic hat to wear. It's not too out there, but it's like pretty. I think it'd be nice to just have that little hat to toss on with other little outfits. It kind of maybe dress up an outfit a little bit. And for some reason, like a nice crochet hat out of cotton gives me more spring vibes, so I feel like this would be a good spring project, although I absolutely could wear it year round. I also want to make some kind of maybe sun hat or a cloche or something with a brim or something. I haven't picked out a pattern, but some kind of vintage hat I would love to make. I have a couple of options for yarn. I think it just depends on what pattern I end up picking. I have a light blue yarn that I could use. I have a little bit of a kind of light brown yarn. I don't know if I have enough of it for anything, but that could possibly be an option. I have red yarn. I have more black. I could always buy yarn if I really wanted to. I have to pick a pattern because I don't actually know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll put some ideas up on the screen of patterns that I might be leaning towards choosing. I gotta figure it out. I do think I'll make that off the face hat, but I'm not sure what I'm going to make for my kind of sun hat. We'll have to see. So since I am trying to keep things realistic, those are all of the patterns that I am hoping to work on soon, all of the projects that I'm hoping to make a lot of progress on or finish in the coming month. Yeah, again, this was a bit of a shorter video this week, but hopefully you still enjoyed it, and hopefully you will still tune in for my next knit and chat, where I will talk about all of the progress that I've made on my works in progress. Maybe you will see some progress on some of the things that I talked about today. Maybe I'll have a hat to show you, or a pattern picked out for that second hat. Who knows? If you're interested, again, in 2 weeks, I will have another knit and chat video, and next month I will have a video more in the style of this one, where I start off the month with stash busting, what I'm planning to work on, all that kind of stuff. I also am going to have an exciting video next week. Going to have my first sewing video coming out, all about some exciting vintage sewing projects. I also have some other knit and chat videos, so if you're interested, that will all be on my channel. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you are working on lately, what you are planning for the month, if you have any spring or summer knits on the horizon, or crochet projects. Whatever you're working on, do let me know in the comments. I love to hear about what other people are working on. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Bye.